Hello and welcome to episode 118 for October 14th, 2014. I think I did that right. It's been a while.
There were a lot of 14s in that word.
I don't know if it's supposed to say Cutie Art Crusaders before it or something like that.
Yeah, episode 118 of what burned?
Of the horse show, Three Musketeers. I don't know. Regardless, my name is Burned1, and today I am joined by two lovely fellows.
I'm Flutterguy317. I'm the media manager of the podcast.
And I'm Matt Muspark. I'm the questions and things guy. Also, I'm back. Yay. Yay me.
Hey, and Atmos Spark is
Yay.
Yay me.
Yay! Yeah.
Everybody praise me.
So Joel, aka Atmospark, went to SalvageCon 2 weeks ago, and then last week we recorded.
I was shafted.
Yeah,
I got told, do not come for this episode.
We told you could come, but you were sleeping. But supposedly you had a fantastic time at SalvageCon. So do you want to tell us a bit about what went down there?
Okay, so for those who don't know, I was going to be going to Sydney, which was that same weekend, but it was cancelled like a week or so beforehand, and there was a big uproar, yada, yada, yada. And there's a group of guys who were also going to be going to Sydney, who are from Sydney. Sydney the place, Sydney the convention. They're from Sydney, and they decided, okay, we can't let this weekend go to waste, so they organised this, I would say an emergency convention kind of thing where they found a really cheap venue at one of the universities, and people that were going to go to Sydney got free entry to this thing, and they funded it all completely themselves, so there was no chance of it sort of going bankrupt and not happening. And so they ran this thing called SalvageCon, which is a fantastic name for it. The logo was fantastic. It was it was pretty great, and yeah, it went really well. The venue was
awesome,
kind of I think perfect for it. The amount of people that were there, it wasn't too crowded. A whole bunch of the vendors that were going to be going to Sydney were there. Bought a few cool things. There's a picture if you want to see it. I'm sure you guys are going to be fawning over it, and we'll be talking about it. But yeah, a few cool people. Space Kid was there, which is cool. Liza Goring was there.
Yay.
Shout out to you because I know you watched the show.
Got a pinky plushie from her, and it's adorable. The eyes are huge.
And then we hang out Sydney for a little bit.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I love you.
I really enjoy hearing stories about things that kind of work out in the end, like people who come forward and like the guys who organized SalvageCon, like they out of pocket organized the entire con, and like you guys had a fantastic time, and it was just like because they wanted to have a convention,
right?
So
because they know people from all over the country and the world, because Ashley Ball was there. We're going to be going to Sydney, and they thought, well, people have already paid for tickets, they've paid for accommodation, they're going to be coming to Sydney anyway. Let's organise something for us to do as a group rather than nothing. So yeah, they organised that, and Ashley Ball was still there.
That's awesome.
That's really awesome.
The comic book guy, what was his name? Paul Abstrus, he was there.
Yeah.
He was there because he was going to be going to Sydney, and yeah. That was cool.
So did you get to talk to Ashley Ball at all, or no?
I didn't actually, because she was, as you can imagine, very very busy.
Yeah, probably swamped.
Yeah,
but that's really cool. And it looks like there were quite a few vendors there by the amount of swag that you got.
Oh yeah, got a few things.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you want to just kind of run through some of the vendors that you met while you were there?
I met Liza Goring. She wasn't a vendor, but she was walking around with two giant, an Applejack and a Rainbow Dash plushie. You couldn't really miss it because they're about as tall as she was.
That's awesome.
Walking around with those, she bought them so she could get Ashley Ball to sign them, which is pretty cool. And there were Space Kid. Space Kid was there. We featured him on the show a few times. I actually meant to send him the episode he's in, but I forgot.
Dude, Space Kid hype.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are the other notable ones that were there?
People, Joel. Names.
Dark
Names.
Dark
Need names.
Merchant. Well, you got a rarity pillowcase from Dark Merchant.
I did.
And
Dark
that
Merchant. I got a
adorable.
rarity pillowcase and the FMA mousepad. They're both from Dark Merchant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
There were a few people there. It was like 2 weeks ago, and I've forgotten a lot of the names.
Yeah.
Snuggle Factory, who was another plushie maker, was there. And a ball pit. There was a ball pit.
There was.
As it should be. As it should be.
And
was there-
in the charity auction, there was a ball pit ball signed by Ashley Ballowit for like $50.
Ah, that's awesome.
It's pretty much like every single convention now has to have a ball pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was something that has to happen. Like, they have to step it up. I mean, that convention stepped it up and had the ball pit, and it's like you got to meet that expectation, or it's just not a convention.
Was there a plushie of Rainbow Dash in the ball pit?
No, there wasn't.
Oh.
I did see a Rainbow Dash in the ball pit at some stage, but I think she got out again.
No. One would hope that she got out.
Hopefully it wasn't
She's
like
still
the
there.
other ball pit.
As a token of how awesomely last minute put together this convention was, the armbands, like the wristbands that you used to prove that you got in, were actually League of Legends, like those silicon bracelets that like somebody must have ordered 1 million of at some stage. So instead of using the paper wristbands, it was League of Legends silicon bracelets.
That's sweet.
That's what's hanging on the Pinkie Pie in that photo.
That's awesome.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. Where is that?
Yeah. On her hair. ACD.
Wait.
So that was funny.
What? ACD? What's ACD?
I have no idea.
It's supposed to be ADC. It's not even correct.
they're-
Well, that's
Is
probably
that
why
like,
they had them. They were probably leftovers because somebody messed up.
misprinted League of Legends armband.
It was great.
That's awesome.
That's probably how they tell. They were like, "What? That says ADC. No, you can't get in."
What role do you play? Oh, I play Maddle. Or Tapo. Oh my goodness. That's
The
great.
squishy thing and the frogs, they're from the aquarium. I just included them because we had a bit of fun with them.
I am a professional jangler. Jangle.
Oh, and the story behind that Pinky Perla pony that's in the photo there. Silver Rain Clouds, who was there with me, she was dressed up as Pinkie Pie. And we had some guy come up to us and ask her for a photo, so we took a photo with us. And then he gave her this thing, this Pinky Perla pony, and said, "Hi, my name is Justin. I'm from Singapore. My mum made this for me to give to somebody, and here, you can have it." We have no idea who he is. He just come up to us and said, "I'm from Singapore. I've come to Australia to go to this convention, and here's a Perla pony that I made for you."
Aw,
That's awesome.
That was
so
cool.
Is that what that says?
Yeah.
What is
It says, from Singapore, Justin.
from?
Huh.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
And it's adorable.
So shout out to Justin from Singapore if you're watching this. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
we have no idea who he is. We never saw him again. But yeah, that was cool.
If
If
anyone
knows Justin, send him our way.
That's so cool. Did you meet any fans of the show while you were there?
I didn't actually. I met Liza Goring. She knows us.
Yeah, she knows this.
Counts. Count it.
Yep.
No, I don't think there was anybody else there that sort of knew my name or anything.
Huh.
All right.
Oh. Still, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing sounds fantastic, and I'm like super happy that.
I met a few artists, a few people who would be interested in coming on the show. Space Kid except for one.
I know. I'm also
Yeah.
pumped for that. Got to get in touch with him.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I'm really glad you got to go to that convention.
Dawn Allies, who is the artist for sort of most of Australia's conventions.
Still
cool.
more things. Okay. Did we even mention that Max isn't here?
Nah,
I don't think
Nah.
I need to.
We just kind of started recording. All right.
Yeah.
Well, since we didn't say it before, Max isn't here. I'm not sure why he can't join us.
It is Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. It was the same thing
So
last year,
he's
too.
going home to celebrate with his parents and sister and people. And
Wasn't it like last Canadian Thanksgiving? We were just like, Max was off doing Canadian things. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just said like the same thing.
Silly Canada.
we were playing Civ like earlier in the week, and I was like, "Hey, you want to play on Wednesday?" And he was like, "I can't, NHL game." And I'm like, "Oh, it's Canadians."
Canadian things, dude. Now he's
Hockey.
having the Canadian Thanksgiving.
Canada problem.
Yeah.
All right. Anywho.
I want to play
Hashtag-
Civ, but there's a hockey game on.
Yeah.
I can't. So there's also a note in here about Swedes.
Yeah, that's me. I bought a chest of drawers from IKEA like 4 days ago. I've been back every single day since then to get extra parts for it. The only time I've ever had to
jeez.
do it, the box had no nuts and bolts. None of the things would support the drawers, and something else. I just had to go back every day to get parts for it.
You have some rotten luck with IKEA, man.
But that's the only, like, I've got all this other stuff in my room in my house from IKEA, and that's the only time it's ever happened to me.
Jeez, yeah. Oh, man.
Those crafty Swedes, they sure know how to put in almost everything you need.
Who do we know is from Sweden? Is Remislack from Sweden?
Yeah, and
Right?
and Nash is from Sweden as well.
It's their fault.
Yeah.
Elaborating
crafty
into your chest
Swedes.
of drawers, dude.
You just have to ask Nash or Remislack for some extra hardware, and they'll send it your way.
See, pretty much what I got on the
Swedish
wood in the
stereotyping.
box, on the two big boxes that it came in, was all the wooden parts, but none of the steel parts.
Well, is it
Oh
now
my
assembled completely?
No, it's still sitting in pieces in my room because I got home late last night and I fell asleep.
Now it's not built.
But you have the parts now.
I have the parts now. By the time this comes out, it will
That's
be
good.
built.
All right. So for
That's
those
good.
of you on the show worrying,
Cool.
it will be together. Don't. It's okay.
Also, I'm moving house soon, so there'll probably be a couple of weeks I'm not on the show. Just I forgot to
Yeah.
mention that.
Guys, everyone chill.
Don't
it's
panic.
Cool.
It'll be together.
got this.
You better make sure it's together
Yeah.
by Tuesday. Mm.
I can build it. See, drill.
All right.
So
Ted, you were saying?
we have some art this week.
Oh, really?
That's right, we do
we
art, don't
do. We do art. Yeah, we're an art podcast, kind of.
I just want to rant about dumb stuff for an hour.
I mean,
Silly
we
Swedes.
could.
Max isn't here. The three of us should play.
So is this
No,
the
but-
butts episode then?
No, Max wants to be in on the butts episode. He's
Okay,
got a
question
player
after dark.
folder.
No.
That'll come later.
Moving forward. Who's first this week? Oh, hey,
You
look.
are.
It's me.
Hey.
Finally. Just kidding. I was complaining to Max because like random.org hates me. It hasn't been putting me first.
It's all right. We
Anyway.
disregarded random.org this week.
But even according to random.org, he's first this week. So
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anywho, so this week I have chosen a piece called Captain Equestria by an artist, Vice. I believe it's how it's pronounced, just like Vice. Vice.
nice.
And
Yeah, it
fans of the show, remember I actually talked about Vice. We saw some of his artwork at Everfree Northwest and BronyCon because Johan's Robot had it at his table because he did some, I think it was not collabs with him, but it was just like selling his art because Vice wasn't able to, which
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
That
and
was
so that's how we
the
found out about him.
the berry tube table, right?
Oh, yeah, the Berry 2 table to Everfree Northwest, and then he just had a like 1 or 2 prints, I think, of Vice's at BronyCon. Yeah, which I believe helped pay for Johan's Robot's trip, so which is pretty cool. Like, anywho, let's see. So yeah, I think this piece is awesome. I remember I meant like a couple episodes back, I mentioned I really wanted to feature a specific piece by Vice, and this was the one. I wanted to like work it into like a comic episode or something, but I didn't feel like there's enough awesome ones that are just like, yeah, like this like Marvel episode or this DC episode. I don't know. But I don't read comics. Anyway, no, like Vice's artwork in particular, I really, really enjoy just because it seems like really stylized. And I was actually chatting with him on Skype, and he takes a lot of inspiration from other
Trill.
artists. So he was mentioning that he takes exactly a Trill's a big one, and he's mentioning that he takes inspiration from, but. Like a lot of Vice's work, if you go look at it, it's like it has some similar characters, but it's still like very different. You know what I mean? It's especially in personality. Like how I told or mentioned to him on Skype when I was talking to him was like Vice's style almost looks like a Trill's work if a Trill like took his line art really seriously, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a Trill has like a lot of goofy fun with like his line art and thickness, and he just like super loves doing a lot of like goofier stuff, and even like in some of like his in a Trill's more like anthro pieces and like commissions and things, like the line art is like super thick and has just a lot of character, where I feel like in Vice's work like his line art's a lot thinner, and you know, smaller, like point, like I don't know, precise, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, comparing two different artists, but really cool stuff. I love it. Like the eyelashes were a big thing. I think we all recognize like from a Trill, and Vice has kind of taken and put his own little spin on it.
I also noticed the
then
hand.
The fuzzies are like, the fuzzies are a big thing on the characters. What about the hand?
The hand looks like a Trill's as well. Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah, a bit. Not much. I'm actually trying to find something at the moment, which I'm thinking might be the inspiration for this, but I can't find it. So keep talking.
Okay. Well. Ted, did you have anything you want to say?
I just love how like in this community, artists can kind of feed off of each other, and like you can see influences in other people's work, like you were saying with the Trill in this work, and I know like the BerryTube community is very like kind of close knit, and they kind of work off each other. So I can kind of see some other people like that we saw at the BerryTube table, like their art in this as well. So kind of neat. Also, I love the action in this, just from all the diagonal lines and the motion lines and stuff.
Yeah, it's a very, I don't know, key, like, what would you say, kind of action comic pose? Comic action pose, I guess is the correct way to say that. But where, the character is in like a diagonal and like doing something epic, like throwing a shield at you in the foreground. And there was a word that I couldn't remember when I was talking with Vice on Skype about how the hand is like, larger as it gets closer to you. So it's like out of proportion because like things, as they appear closer to you in like a, in art world, whatever the heck.
Perspective.
In a 2D image, how the illusion of making something come closer to you. There's a word for that, but I couldn't remember it. And it's not like orthogonal lines. It's like, it's not elongated. There's some freaking word I can't remember. Yeah.
Burned. You're failing us.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to try Googling it.
No, I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember the term for it. But it's kind of like why the shield is also a lot bigger than Twilight. Yeah.
You sure it's just not perspective?
Yeah.
I think it is just, perspective or force. It's not forced
perspective. Is more of a term to like describe, I don't know, describe everything as a whole and like view or whatever, but it's the foreshortening.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So perspective and foreshortening are two different things, where foreshortening is specifically talking about the making something slimmer as it goes farther away, or making something larger as it comes closer to like the viewer. So the fact that like Twilight's hand is like large, and then she's like proportions get smaller as they go farther away is foreshortening. That was the fancy word I was looking for.
I love too how like the line work kind of follows that as well, because the lines on the shield are a lot thicker than the lines on Twilight's body.
Yep.
Which is really cool. It's something that a Trill does a lot of as well. Like closer objects have thicker lines. I also really like her expression, and the way that Vice did her eyes is really intriguing to me. It's very comic book like. It's not really show style, because they have this kind of like white outline followed by a black outline, and there's a couple extra shinies. I don't know. It's really neat. It's definitely like very comic booky.
Yeah. No. They're also the eyes are giving a specific expression too of like anger, action, or something, because like Twilight has very small pupils, so it that gives a certain feeling, I guess. You know what I mean? Where like if it was large like pupils, it would be something completely different, but they're like dilated, so it's intense. She's angry or whatever, and like I'm trying to like turn my head to like look at it, but yeah, I really really like how Vice does eyes as well.
Yeah.
My neck out.
Don't strain yourself, man.
This is where we need the video.
So, something else I was going to mention is Vice is actually mentioning a lot of people don't notice this, and I didn't notice it at first as well, because I wasn't like clicking on it and like zooming in as if it were some kind of vector, and I was critiquing it. But if you actually bring up the full resolution, like the little download button on DeviantArt, you can notice that the armor that what is this? This is Captain Equestria or Captain America Twilight. The texture, there's actually texture on the armor, on Twilight's armor, which is like an inlaid texture underneath the color or whatnot. And like, I guess that's a small touch that kind of gives a lot of life to the like suit that I guess sometimes maybe people wouldn't notice.
Yeah. There's also a really nice texture on the shield itself, which gives it kind of a metallic feel.
Yep. And then the like scratched parts and like the metal, how it like looks scratched up and stuff. That's really cool. And it's the same thing on Twilight's hand, like glove. There's like metal on that glove, and it's like scratched up as well.
Yeah. Textures give so much characterization to like objects in comic books.
No.
Really cool.
What was the word? Tangible feeling. It gives them something like that you can relate to reality. Wow, even the leather strap like around her shoulder and on her back, like that has leather texture on it. It's a lot of textures. Jeez.
Yeah.
Also, there's a flag in the background.
Yes.
Right.
I'm surprised it's not the equestrian flag.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry. I was looking at something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I really like Vice's work. It's really neat.
Yeah, I really like his style, which is why I wanted to bring this up, like the whole, like, because obviously this is an anthropomorphized piece, but I feel like Vice is really good at just doing kind of anthropomorphic characters, like humanized characters, and then I really dig his expressions, like eyes, like you mentioned, like hired his eyelashes. I think is pretty flashy. There's a lot of things, and even like you're mentioning line quality and stuff like that.
He does
like how the shield's thicker and stuff.
He does a lot of these like bold expressions, like I guess comic book ish like stuff really well. Like he has another one, New Sheriff in Town, which is Applejack, and it's like another like very motion filled, like, you know, in your face kind of piece.
Yeah,
it's really good.
And I was commenting on that too, where that the foreshortening of the guns, you know, is they're like right, like bam, like in your face.
Yeah.
And I was also poking fun at him because with Applejack's hat, it makes it look like she has two very tiny eyes.
It does. I thought she had like eyes on her hat for a second, and I'm like, what?
It's not where
Also,
eyes go.
Since we have the piece on the screen and my time is running out, I was going to point out to everyone in the world that you should look at the guns, like zoom in on this picture and look at the guns, because Vice actually named them. He gave them names. It's what is it? It's Winona and Bloom are the names of his guns, or her guns.
Nice.
Anywho,
All right. So
that's it for me.
We're gonna move on to my piece, which is called Satum Luna by Assassin Monkey. Hi, Assassin Monkey.
Hi.
And this piece features Luna coming down and, I guess, crushing griffins.
Crushing, asphyxiating, like
all of the above. You know, it's all
washing
good.
over with crazy night magic.
Yeah.
You know, just Luna things.
Yeah.
Oh, right, there's beaks in there.
Yeah. Bernd actually brought this piece up to me, and the first thing that I noticed in it was the coloring. I really, really like how Assassin Monkey has done like these streaks of bright blue and mixed that into an otherwise like really dark color palette. So Luna has, for instance, her eye has a really bright shine of blue, and then her mane and her tail also have these like stripes of blue in there. And they really like stand out and give it like this vivid quality to it.
Well, the way that's designed, it looks like it's like a light beam coming from the moon down from the top to her to the ground.
Maybe she is the moon.
But the moon's behind her.
But
How
not
can she
behind
be
her
the
too.
moon if the moon is there?
Deep thoughts on the Cutie Art Crusaders. Only here, folks.
How can the moon be real if our eyes aren't real? Too jaded for me. Alright, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Yeah, and I mean, we've featured many Assassin Monkey pieces before. And I really...
many Luna pieces before.
Many Luna pieces before.
Never gets old.
No. It's always something new. I really like his stylings. I love either hyper-realistic or painterly, and this is painterly. Mostly.
But yet realistic.
Yeah. It's kind of a combination of the two, and it's awesome. I also really like the whole stars in Luna's mane. Bernd, you brought that up before we started recording. We've seen that before in a couple of art pieces that we've actually featured on here. But it's just interesting because she's blocking out the moon, but yet there's stars that you can see through her mane, and it almost looks like it's a portal to the night sky, like through the moon.
Yeah. Because like you mentioned that we've seen we've seen the whole like stars in Luna's hair before, or like the, you know, her hair is like night approach, but it's how the art approaches it, and it's how the artist, you know, physically paints it or does it. And I feel like how Assassin Monkey's portrayed Luna's hair in this piece with like just the lighting and the color has captivated me the most out of all the pieces that I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what really catches me the most in this piece in particular is like kind of how you can just like see the night in her hair, like because that's kind of what her hair is an allegory for, is like she's the princess of her night, and her hair is kind of the embodiment of the night sky, you know. So it's like when you're looking at her hair, it is clearer than the actual night in the background in this piece. Like the stars are hazy or covered in clouds or far away, or like you can see directly into space, like through her like mane and tail.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like as cheesy as that sounds, I think it's really cool.
No, I agree. An Assassin Monkey uses value so well in pieces like this. So where her mane and tail kind of create this portal effect is really, really dark compared to the surroundings, and even like her wing that goes through, you can see her wing because it's kind of a lighter blue against the background, the stars and night sky in her tail. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's like you were saying, there's like cloudiness and mistiness in the actual sky, and then her tail is completely clear.
So something else that I was going to mention is that I find is really cool. Her right wing, the wing on our left, going like that's over her tail. It starts out as that brighter, like kind of lighter Luna color blue, but then it transitions into like pretty much a deep black on the underside of her wing, which cuts it out from the night sky in the background. Because it's darker there. Like the value of that is darker than the things behind it, but it makes it seem like it's pushed forward. I don't know. It's really weird. Like that play with value of where you have like a light part of the wing, and then all of a sudden transitions into like this complete black part where there is no light over the top of her tail. It was like a really cool touch. I mean, especially like up towards the tip of her wing where like the moon like hits it and comes from around her tail. Yeah. Because her tail is physically blocking light from the actual moon like behind her.
Yeah, well, it kind of silhouettes her wing against the moon. And there is like a little bit of kind of overlap where her wing is dark and the surroundings are dark. But it kind of like your eye kind of fills in that space, that void almost to show you that there is a wing there. It's like interesting.
Yeah, it is really cool. This whole piece is really cool. Like,
yeah.
And when we featured Assassin Monkey last time, we were talking about how it was kind of that epic battle resembled like old, like actual like what do you want to call it? Like historical paintings, or not historical? God, I always forget the word, but art history like paintings, whatever you want to call it. Like this again, kind of it resembles that kind of old, I don't know, art historical style-ish of like old master paintings, where it's like this really romantic, like built up for a specific reason scene. Like if you look at her tail, it's actually like coming from the clouds. It's actually like warping and then wrapping in and then joining in with like the clouds up behind it almost, which makes her look like she's coming from, I don't know, the clouds or the sky, like coming, because like you have this hole in like the background, right? Where like the hole in the clouds and with like the moon behind it, and then the way her tail is positioned, like you can see the tip of it, but the way it's positioned, it looks like it is coming out from this hole and she's coming down through this, and kind of like enveloping in this big sweeping, like, I don't know, powerful motion of whatever kind of magic she's using.
Yeah.
That's definitely where it's like, I don't know, sweeping, creating this kind of like valley underneath her, you know?
It's definitely got that, what is it, the neoclassical feel? Is that the correct term? No, it's yeah, I think so. Where it's like very epic, like war style pose, and like we used some term on the last Assassin Monkey piece that we did.
Well, the other one was, I called it or compared it to neoclassical because like it goes really deep, and like I would recommend people go Google it or something, because like I probably need to refresh my memory.
Well,
but
I bring it up just because I have seen pieces that are similar to this style as well as to the last style that are from around the same era, and I feel like it kind of fits in with that whole time period.
Yeah, I think you could call it that.
Yeah,
sure. The other thing we brought up in the last piece was the lighting, specifically how it's not so much like super realistic lighting of how it would work in real life, because like if this was a piece in real life, obviously Luna would be really dark and she would be hard to see because the moon is so bright behind her, so we would just see all the brightness in the background, and then Luna would be an actual silhouette of just black. But she's lit in an artistic way and a specific way that Assassin Monkey basically wants us to see Luna, where her front is illuminated and her wings are illuminated and like the ground below her is illuminated. So it looks really realistic in how the lighting and shadows work, but it's obviously chosen by the artist for a specific way to create this scene, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting how Assassin Monkey plays with framing too, because there is this hole in the clouds, which kind of creates the top to a frame, but it also creates a full frame around Luna, or like kind of cutting Luna in half. But then there's this additional ambient light that's on Luna that kind of cuts that frame and brings it down through the whole piece so that she's kind of centered on it. It's really interesting.
Kind of creates this like arrow, like wedge, like the hole in the clouds, like, and then like you can follow the lines down into that magic at her feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like this basically creates like a downward motion, because like what Assassin Monkey wants here is Luna to be, you know, coming epically down from the skies and then landing and making this powerful thing into this battlefield, which, you know, we saw in like a previous piece or maybe another battle. I'm not sure how his lore works, but coming down from the sky. And so there's definitely a downward feel in this motion with her hair like sweeping upwards, so it feels like she's coming down. And then like all the diagonals in the piece, how they point towards each other, towards like the bottom, creating like, you know, arrows pointing down. If that makes sense. Yeah. Because like diagonals in art basically do a lot to depict what you'll see and how your eye follows it. So the fact there's all these like her wings again create like a downwards arrow, and the clouds create a downwards arrow, and the magic creates a downwards arrow, and then all that stuff like that. So
many diagonals.
Yeah, make you look down.
Yeah. Joel, did you have anything to say about this piece before we move on to yours?
I'm pretty sure you guys have already covered everything.
Yeah.
Last thing I do want to point out is I think we've brought this up in a lot of Assassin Monkey pieces, but we even brought it up in an ancient CAC episode. But it's that, and we always talk about it, how like what an artist wants to be the subject, they'll like put the most detail into. So a lot of like really good paintings, like all the detail of that painting will go into the subject and what the artist knows the viewer will be seeing and looking at and focusing on, and then lack details in other area because they don't want them to be distracting or like blend into the background or whatever. And Assassin Monkey's done a beautiful job of doing that in this piece, where like Luna's hair and like front of her armor and face and like eyes is in crazy amounts of detail, and her hair is like beautifully detailed with like the night stars. But then when you look underneath her at her legs, like her two back legs in particular, they're not detailed. It's just they're basic like strokes of paint or digital brushes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing in like how the magic starts to swirl. It starts to blur in just because it's not as like tightly painted and detailed, and it starts to look like almost like a vision blur, or you know what I mean? Where it's like off the sides of your vision and it just kind of blurs into the background of because it's not in your focus. And it's the same kind of thing with stuff that starts getting close into the foreground. And it's just
and I think the lack of detail also goes with the whole darker value, because you want your focus to be in light, like lighter values, and have this ambient light on it. And as you kind of get away from that, the values go down and the detail goes down. And this piece kind of is very interesting in that her face and head and stuff like that is fairly hyper realistic. And as you kind of go away from that, you get more of Assassin Monkey's trademark painterly stylings.
Yeah.
So really cool.
Or like her eyebrow too. It's frowed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Frowned, whatever you call that.
Furrowed.
It's a frow in her brow. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's down, makes her look angry. She's got like kind of a scrunchy face going on. She's pissed. She's killing some griffins.
Yeah, but she's like a serene angry almost. Like she's not like mad. She's
asphyxiating those griffins with dark magic.
Yeah, which is why she's not like, she's like, oh, I can take you guys out. Don't worry, I got this.
All right, well,
Yeah.
teach us some.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to move on to Mr. Atmosphoric's piece.
Mine. Okay, so mine's completely different to you guys.
Prepare your eyes.
Yeah, mine's completely different to you guys because yours are both really, really dark. Mine couldn't be brighter.
Oh God, the light.
Yeah, I've liked this one for ages. Since it came out, which was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
So ages.
Yeah, that's pretty bright, man.
It's pretty bright. So yeah, it's Pinkie Pie with balloons and Gummy, and the sun's behind her, and I think she's in the sky because it's clouds, and I think it's like sunrise. So yeah, it's great. And I also believe, Rary Dash, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's Vector.
I think it is. It's a textured vector, which is interesting because you don't see.
I know he usually does a lot of textured vectors. So. It's a revision of an old one, which wasn't Vector.
Yeah, I like this kind of style of art, like vector or art or whatever. It's very bright, very happy. The focus is on the subject right in the middle. I don't know. It's just like very uplifting compared to the last two pieces that we saw. Well, the last piece that we saw.
It makes you happy.
Yeah.
It's a happy image.
Yeah, like the last piece was pretty melancholy, very dark, very serious tone. Where this one is quite the polar opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I was gonna put a lens flare on it as a joke when we put it on the screen, but there's actually like I didn't even notice before, but there's an actual lens flare like on this piece.
There is, yeah.
It's kind of like going through Pinkie Pie's body and like
There's already a lens
face.
flare.
Yeah.
Because it's so bright, sun behind her.
Yeah. It's interesting that the sun is behind Pinkie and she's got very little silhouetting going on. Like her legs are silhouetted against it, but the rest of her body is not. And I guess that just goes to show how bright the piece actually is because the sun still appears bright behind her.
There is two. I'd say that there's almost like there's two light sources. There's one where the camera is, and there's one where the sun is. So it's like you're taking a photo of the sunset with a flash.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Gummy, you can see that the shadows behind his leg rather than in front of his leg.
Poor Gummy hanging on for life.
Yeah, he seems happy enough.
He's
smiling.
Yeah.
This would be a great phone wallpaper.
It would. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rary Dash.
It does, like, the whole piece does have these dots all over it, which almost look like, comic book dots, but everything has these dots.
Yeah, it's almost like in magazines, like especially older magazines, they had this kind of texture because of the printing method, like the dot printing.
Yeah, like it was kind of mentioned with old comic-y stuff. Like ancient, archaic Supermans or whatever.
Yeah, so it definitely looks like that. And it's interesting
Pop
because
culture-esque.
you can see it more in certain colors and like certain values, hues and stuff.
You can see it more in the darker.
Because it really pops out.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and it does vary too. Like you can see in her tail, for instance. I think it varies at least, or it varies in like the different colors that are used for the dots.
I have no clue how he did that.
Yeah.
It's like when he's done the shading or the darker colors. It's like it's cut away from that, and you can see the color underneath it. I don't know, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a lighter color over the darker one. I can see that.
You can see that.
Looking at like some areas it's reversed. Like in some of the shadows in her hair, like where I'm looking now is at the shadow at the very tip of her little Pinkie Pie floof thing at the front of her
The
face.
floof thing.
Where that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, no, it's definitely really interesting.
I like
it
how
adds another depth, another level of depth.
yeah. I like how like Pinkie is almost two-dimensional in places. Like her face is fairly 2D, but like Rare Dash kind of makes certain places pop in her. So like he uses some shadows in her. Obviously, her tail and her mane are the poofiest of places. And then her hooves kind of stand out, separated from the body a bit. But it kind of does have that older comic book-y, magazine-y stylings to it, just because of like the mix of 2D and 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something
I
I
can
really
see that.
like. Something that I really like is if you look at her legs, her like the shadowing on her legs is kind of a similar color to the stuff in the background. But then he's chosen to color her legs in like this bright like yellow orange that kind of makes them stick out from the background a little bit, or maybe even blend in, or vice versa. But it's like her body transitions from Pinkie Pie color, and then her legs are kind of lit in this really bright, I don't know, fiery orange. It's a very nice touch. Adds like color like that adds interesting qualities to a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like when artists play with colors. Just make something crazy color. Why not? Just do it. See what happens.
Yeah, which, sorry if you guys got blinded by the insane
Explosion.
color. Yeah. I do like a good piece with a lot of saturated colors. This IOPGO, etc., do a lot of really, really bright pieces.
I've just noticed the wrinkles around her stomach. I thought it was cross-hatching shading, but it's actually the strings from the balloons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it's an interesting composition, because the balloons take up the top, I want to say, not quite half of the piece.
It's like it's about. I wouldn't say a third.
No,
No,
like
I'd say it'd probably be a third actually.
2/5, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then Pinkie Pie takes up the remaining bottom, but her face is kind of centered, which is kind of where the focus should be. So,
Like all those balloons, how they're layered, and again, they're kind of creating that arrow effect, like we saw in Assassin Monkey's piece. It's kind of pointing at her face, and which makes us look there.
yeah.
Yeah, the
especially,
way that they're sort of laid out.
especially when you have a heart-shaped balloon right above her. Yeah. Yeah. Overall, a happy piece.
Very happy.
Very fun.
A very bright piece. Funny thing is, I just got a new monitor, and it has an extremely high brightness level, and it's actually physically hurting my eyes staring at it.
Hey,
Maybe
man,
you
the
should turn
sun,
some lights on, Bernd.
the sun will actually hurt your eyes.
I have all the lights in my room on, dude. That's just how bright my monitor is.
I have a plane
great,
in my
right?
room.
Apparently, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I hear
Could hear that.
Get on my level.
Jeez. That was weird.
That was.
Do we have anything else we wanted to add on that piece?
No, I think
No, I think we
pretty much covers it. Yeah. Fun piece.
Joel, shall we?
Shall we? We shall.
Sure.
Right. So I'm going to do questions now because I haven't done it in like 3 weeks.
Yay.
Maybe more. Cause did we do questions? Yeah, no. It was like a couple weeks before that I didn't choose the questions. Remember, plus we did.
Joel, question time hype, everybody.
Yeah.
I haven't even read
Alright.
them yet. I don't even know what
So-
they are.
First question. What is the strangest thing you have seen art being made with? By Ramislack.
Let's say, what's the strangest thing we've seen, like just art,
Like
Made with?
material-wise, yeah.
because like not quite being made with, because I'm
Like, have you
I don't know if I've
seen
seen a lot of art being made.
have you seen a pony sculpture made out of mini wheats?
I have,
no.
actually.
I
Really?
definitely haven't.
I've seen, I think it was mini wheats. Maybe it was some sort of other breakfast cereal, but I've seen I've seen a sculpture of an equine. Maybe it was a horse, maybe it was a pony, made out of I think it was frosted wheats. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's
Interesting.
interesting. Online, not in person. No. But,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did not make this art, so.
Bernd?
It's the strangest thing. Well, like
You've been to a few art galleries?
I've been places and I've seen things, man. Some of the things that I've seen art being made with or made with probably aren't proper for the show. So we won't talk about that, but not quite strangest, but I guess one of the more interesting things I've seen, like a painting being made with, is I've seen an oil painting on copper, like copper plating.
yeah.
And that was extremely cool.
That's interesting.
Because the artist kind of played with basically where he didn't put paint so the copper could show through. And like that was kind of interesting. Other than that, like strange things. Blood is one.
Oh.
I've seen there's one where an artist would basically constantly like prick their finger and then made like a fingerprinting with blood.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah. Well, don't paint too much. You might pass out.
Maybe that's how he determined whether he was spending too much time on his art. If he was passed
That was
out.
definitely one.
I just thought of one. When I was up in Canada with Max, we went to an art gallery, and outside the art gallery, there was a sculpture made out of lampposts, like streetlights, and it was basically there was a ball at the center, and there was a ton of these street lamps coming out of the ball, like full size street lamps, and it was just sitting outside on the green. It was interesting and strange and cool.
I've seen similar things, not lampposts, but like things like animals and other things made out of like scrap metal, like bits of engine parts and like mowers and all that sort of thing. I've seen quite a few of those, and I love them. I really want one. When I grow up, I'm going to have one in my house.
There was a crazy sculpted like metal, like scrap metal sculpture I saw recently of the Hulk. Like that was pretty cool. He was made out of like nuts for like nuts and bolts. He was made out of like those metal nut things.
Yeah.
Also, I guess it's a little bit more common, but I've seen a lot of things made out of driftwood, which end up being pretty cool. The Portland Airport has some horses made out of driftwood. And like this keeps going in the back of my head. I wasn't going to bring it up, but something like when you say the question to me, what's the strangest thing you've ever seen like art being made with? When I lived in Alaska, an extremely common thing that you would see everywhere is stuff made with moose pellets, basically moose droppings. So I've seen many an artwork done with moose turds.
Were they
that
polished?
Is definitely something I've seen. They're polished, clean, like they're sterile. They're not like going to be bad for you. They're dried out, but like you'd make little sculptures or little people. Or actually, I've seen a moose made out of moose turds. You name it. Alaska's a weird place.
I learned today that one of the natural predators of the moose is a killer whale.
Yes.
So that's interesting.
Interesting.
Thank you, Reddit.
That's what the front page of Reddit meant this morning. Thank you. Yeah. I was wondering why there was a moose and a killer whale.
That's where I learned that.
Oh my god. Do they like, because they don't have natural predators, so they swim in the water and then killer whales eat them?
Yeah. That's right. They swim to like some island and the killer whales eat them on the way.
I would have assumed bears.
Yeah, I don't know. I think bears leave the moose alone.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
There was, what I was going to say, on where I live nearby on one of the beaches, a couple of times a year they do a sculpture festival, and they always have some really cool stuff, also some really strange stuff made out of things like driftwood and like rubbish that they find on the beach, plastic bags, thongs, I guess you'd call them flip flops, all those sort of things. And one of the ones they had this year, it wasn't exactly made out of anything strange, but it was strange, was there's a huge rock on the beach here, like as in maybe 30, 40, 50 meters tall and like around and stuff. And on the top of this rock, they had, I think it was 30-meter long inflatable tentacles. They had tentacles on the top of this rock, like a big octopus coming out of the rock, and it was blowing around in the wind. So that was cool.
That's cool.
That was awesome.
So it's kind of like a kraken kind of thing. Yeah.
It was also green.
Like a wacky waving inflatable flailing arm octopus.
Was he trying to sell cars or something? That's really cool. So like they just have a ton of artists come and like show off stuff there?
Yeah.
That's cool. Huh.
All right.
Neat. All right, so our next question.
Next question. Do we have enough time for it? Yes, we do. Next question is, you are invited to a fancy dress costume party. What would you dress up as? I think because Halloween's coming up. Also, I really need some ideas because I'm going to a party. I have no idea what to dress up as.
Well, is it fancy dress party or is it a costume party? Because they're two distinctly different things.
Same thing.
Okay. Because I was going to say something different.
We'll say a
also,
fancy
sent in by
costume
Sonnenblitz.
party.
What would I dress as this year?
We'll say a fancy costume party. So.
Okay.
Because it's fancy dress or costume party,
Yeah.
so we could just say a costume party. What would you dress up as?
Okay.
Because Halloween.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas?
No.
I'm trying to think.
Parties.
Do you have anything, Joel, off the top of your head?
No, because I need ideas.
Oh, so that's why you chose this question.
That's why I chose this question.
You.
I'm not that creative, dude.
What have I seen recently that I don't know.
I wanted to do something like I could be I could get a dress and go be Carrie. We were thinking doing Kang and Kodos.
That'd be cool. That'd be fun.
I could be a Kerbal. Seeing as I spent half my life playing Kerbal Space Program.
Could also be a minion.
Yeah, you really like that game, dude.
I love the game. I'm like up to 600 hours or something playing it.
That's insane. See, when I saw fancy dress / costume party, I immediately thought of Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly. There's an episode where Firefly, you wouldn't know because you haven't watched it yet.
No, I hear it's good. I hear it was good though, but it deserved to be cancelled.
Don't bring that up.
Come on.
There's an episode where they go to a fancy party and he's all dressed up in dressy like Victorian era clothes, and it's really cool. I like it.
I could just be a killer robot.
You could.
I get plenty of tinfoil.
You should be a killer whale with moose antlers. Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be a natural predator.
Of everyone.
That'd be really funny if like you could get a killer whale costume where it's just like you look like kind of a killer whale with like feet or something, and you just put moose antlers in your mouth.
It's pretty
That'd
great.
be a pretty sweet costume.
So are moose like the new vampires? No, never mind. I don't know where I was going with that. Go on, Burn.
Well, like I just watched all of Avatar, so recently I kind of wanted to like cosplay something from Avatar. But I also am growing my twiddly mustache back again, which is kind of nice. So as a fidgeting habit, I've been curling my mustache or like kind of playing with it, like twisting it.
So would you go as mummified or as
I could cosplay as mummified.
Major General Armstrong?
I would need stilts. Oh my god, that would be fantastic! Like a scrawny General Armstrong, because like I'm a scrawny dude. And just a scrawny General Armstrong. That'd be pretty good. And like make up something just like, I am a nephew twice removed of the Armstrong family.
Being small is not in the Armstrong family for generations.
Role-playing as Captain Armstrong would be a lot of fun, especially since like you can see my ribs. Like I am friggin' scrawny.
Yeah. By the way, for anyone who hasn't been following along, we're talking about Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be fantastic if you did something like that.
The art of scrawniness is passed down the Armstrong family through generations.
You could also do like a Snidely Whiplash kind of thing.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
If I ever have to cosplay or go to a costume party, I'll do that. I ain't shaving my head, but I'll like get like that white sparkle thing and like kind of like glue it on my head or face, like above my eye.
Yeah.
Get some sparkles. Yeah, I feel it.
Would be totally
and my hair, like my bangs are like just long enough to do that little curly thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to dye it though. Well, I mean, maybe not.
I need some gloves.
Yeah. That would work. That would work so well.
I could see it. You would be very pretty.
Have you seen Full Metal Alchemist?
No.
Well, you're missing out.
But you bought a Full Metal Alchemist mouse pad.
Yeah.
It's not mine.
Oh, okay.
Is that Silver?
Well, Silver has better taste than you.
Tell Silver we approve.
Yeah, tell Silver I like her mouse pad.
And then tell her
also,
that
she's probably there, so tell her yourself.
Hi, Silver. No, tell her that she needs to force you to watch Full Metal Alchemist.
I think she said that on multiple occasions.
Stop calling me.
Tell her that we agree.
There's a box of anime sitting on my desk. What is it? That's right.
All right. So I believe that is it for the questions.
I believe so.
If you would like to, you can send in more questions to our email account. We have quite a few, but we would always appreciate more.
Yes.
Yes.
What was that, Joel?
Go on.
I thought he was going to do my plugs.
No, I wasn't doing it.
How dare you? I'll cut you.
I was
Punch you.
segueing into the plugs for you.
Okay.
Fight you, Ted.
I shall plug. We've got a few minutes. I'll do the long version. Because it's been a while.
Nah, how about you just do the plugs and then we'll rant
And rave.
Okay.
and dance.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we have, as Flutter Guy was saying, we have a email account, which is cutieartcrusaders.gmail.com. Send in questions, art, other stuff, talk to Bernd, whatever. Anything you want to do in there, send it to us.
Bernd.
You can talk to me!
I meant for doing the critiques and stuff, Where am I? We also have a DeviantArt, which is cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com. Go there to see stuff from this week and last week and other episodes and all stuff from other sorts of things. You can also find us personally in there. We have a Tumblr, which is cutieartcrusaders.tumblr.com. Don't actually know what's on there at the moment. We have Facebook, which is Cutie Art Crusaders, and a Twitter, which is @CutieArtCrusade, and a YouTube, which is youtube.com/CutieArtCrusaders.
Yay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have been having issues with live stream lately on the Everfree Network live stream, and they in general have been having issues with live stream. So fortunately, last week our episode aired correctly, and hopefully this week our episode also airs correctly. But in the case that any episodes in the future don't air correctly, we will be playing them on Picardo. We have a new Picardo channel, which is Cutie Art Crusaders on picardo.tv. So
Fancy.
yes. Yay! So that's all the plugs.
Yay!
Max will be back next week, thankfully, and yeah, we'll actually have a full
maybe
crew
we
next
won't
week.
suck next week.
I thought we did really well today. We rambled a little bit, but
We talked about things.
yeah, art. There was art in there.
Art and stuff.
And ponies a
Maybe
little
we
bit.
didn't suck that bad.
No, and you were back.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! I need more Unikitties.
More what?
Ignore that.
All right.
Okay. Well, on that note, yeah. So next week we should have a full crew, and once again we're gonna probably do an episode similar to like what we've been doing for the past few weeks.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get some more people on maybe at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah. And possibly at some point in the future, we may have enough art to do some sort of themed episode.
Maybe.
Although,
Yeah, I'd like to do that,
Yeah.
but school is like, nah, just punches me in the face.
aw. And your sleep schedule's kind of whack. Right
Yeah,
now.
it's punching me in the face too. It's punching me in other places, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, Bern, do you want to wrap us up?
I'm just like letting you guys talk and just sitting here quietly until like the clock starts to tick down to like an hour. We have like 2 minutes and 30 seconds until our recording reaches like a perfect 60 minutes.
All right, so we
it's
can
just
talk
wonder
for
how
2 minutes
long
and
I
like
can
25 seconds. Can we?
awkwardly sit here.
Have you guys seen the Equestrian Girls 2 yet?
I haven't yet. No
No.
spoilers.
I
don't
haven't
think
seen it
it's-
either.
I don't think it's out here.
I want to watch it because I'm curious. And
I've seen a lot of like screenshots and stuff came out, but I don't think it's out here yet.
I've
Because
seen
art
Australia
gets
gets
shafted by
already.
everything.
When
Yeah,
that movie came out instead, I went and watched Sharknado 2 and streamed it
nice.
and drank a lot.
Uh.
It made it better.
I still can't believe they have a second one of that.
It was fantastic. They killed the shark with a sword. It was the best.
With a sword. I don't know. I like the chainsaw. The chainsaw was pretty cool.
Like an Excalibur. No, like the sword was the best. It's like, yeah, and it's like chopped a shark in half, and there was another one. It was like, brah, and like cut it in half.
Was a shark in
like
a
down
shark?
the long way. Yeah, there was that too.
Oh, really?
Huh.
I think so. Yeah.
Huh.
Very cool. Anyway,
I have to watch this.
all right,
Wanna do it on
that's
the
our time.
Enough talking.
So yeah, what does Max say? Whether you're on the live stream or YouTube, we love you all the
We love
same.
you all the same.
My name is Burned01.
My name is Flutterguy317,
I'm at Mossbrook.
and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
We have a